Hello again, welcome back to another DLC episode. This time it's me, Joey, coming at you with a bit of a sports special. The reason I say sports special is we're covering two games today for a sport that... The reason I say sports special is we're not just covering one game today, we are covering two, and that will become apparent why when we get into the episode. The games that we are covering are Football Referee Simulator and Sports Renovations. Now, for our American listeners, and I know we have a few, the Football Referee Simulator that we are talking about is for soccer. The game itself has been out since July the 1st, 2024, and I want to thank publisher Vladimir Pushkan for giving us a review copy and our friends at Game Press for providing that and making this happen. So Football Referee Simulator is one of the only games that I've ever found that puts you in the shoes of the referee. The idea is that you referee games from very low tier football matches in the English game, and the better your refereeing performance, the more you work your way up and up and up the tiers of English football until you are managing in the Premier League. And the way that you work your way up is you make correct decisions, you make quick decisions, and fair decisions throughout the game. As you go up the divisions, you see some semi-familiar names. If you've ever played a non-licensed sports game before, you'll know what I'm talking about. Instead of having Manchester United, we have Manchester Town. Instead of having Bayern Munich, we just have Munich. And the names are a little bit altered from the real Premier League, the real football players' names, so that there's no licensing issue with that, but they are recognizable. It's a model that a game called Pro Evolution Soccer you used to see quite a lot in the 90s and 2000s with that. The majority of the game itself you spend in the football matches, as should be the case with one of these games. You will watch a top-down view of the football or soccer match, and you'll just see the ball pinging to circles which represent the players on the pitch. My initial thought when playing this game is it looks a lot like a mobile game, and then upon doing some investigation, it is also available on the Android store. So whilst I was playing on Steam, I think it's a port of a mobile game to Steam. That became even more apparent when you look into the game description, and it prides itself on saying no ads, no in-game purchases, all content is locked upon purchase. Football Referee Simulator offers seamless gameplay without interruptions. Now, you'd expect that from a game that you pay for on Steam. You might not expect that for a free game on the Android store. The game is fine. I don't think it's anything more than that. It's a bit of a time killer if you had it on the mobile. I don't think I'll pick it up again on Steam because the gameplay felt very basic. The user interface was very, very basic. And honestly, when I came to making the decisions within the game, none of them felt like they were that challenging. You kind of just had to... For an example, I had one of my first games... it said player for the blue team has tripped over the player for the red team as he's running through on goal. What do you do? Nothing. Give a free kick to the blue team or give a free kick to the red team. That was as simple as it got, and I often felt that the games followed that kind of trend. Now, as a mobile game, I think if I had a long journey on the train or a plane journey, it would be fine for like half an hour. It would kill a little bit of time, but it's really no more than that. I think it's a really interesting idea. The referee is a very thankless job in football or soccer, with a lot of chance directed at them, which you don't get in the game, but with a lot of stuff directed at them, I feel like it's a position where you can never really win, so it's really interesting to see that ported to a game. I just think that I've played Football Manager, where you play as a manager. I've played FIFA, where you play as a player. I've played Football Agent Simulator, where you play as the agent. I've played Football Owner Simulator, where you go as the chairman of the club. There are so many of these kind of sim games, and this is the first one I saw as a referee, so I thought, look, let's give it a go. I don't regret my time with it, but I don't think it would be fair for me to give it any more than a 5 out of 10, with a kind of, if you're interested, it's worth looking at, but I wouldn't pay for it. Yeah, so that's Football Referee Simulator.
The equaliser by Amadou Onana. It's his first goal in a while.
The other game I want to talk about is a demo called Sports Renovations. Now, the game is published by Dear Villagers and developed by Go Games, and once again, just really want to thank them and Game Press for the review copy of this game. Sports Renovations isn't so much a sports game. Essentially, the demo has you arrive at your old hometown basketball team stadium, which has been absolutely ruined in a riot. They are called the Goats, obviously a reference to the greatest of all time. And it's your job to update this stadium, training facilities, and run the team in order to fill up your trophy cabinet and become a stalwart in basketball history. Now, this feels like a really interesting idea. You go in and you can see that your sports hall, is absolutely destroyed after a riot. But in order to get the money for repairing it, you have to go and do other jobs. So in the demo, you explore your sports hall, but you can't do anything with it. Then you go to a gym in a different part of America that someone inherited from their grandfather. And what they wanted to do, because their grandfather was a famous boxer, they wanted to turn it into a boxing gym. So you spend the time cleaning up the old equipment, washing down everything to the walls. You design what colour you want the gym to be to make it look like it is a specialised boxing gym, and then you choose the equipment that goes into it. It's very much like a house builder simulator game. It felt like it scratched an itch that games like Power Wash Simulator will satisfy. In that, you go into this room and it is absolutely chock full of stuff to do. And you just clear it and you clean everything down, and by the end of it you're left with quite a cool looking room with a very specialized gym equipment, because the gym is your demo. The other cool thing about it is you're kind of in constant contact with the person who owns the gym, because you find vintage posters and you keep them in honor of her grandfather, and you're taking photos as you go of your work that you're doing in order to create like a portfolio. And the idea is that you get paid at the end of this. You make incremental improvements to your sports hall, and then you post the photos of what you've done in the past for people to look at it and go, oh, I'd have a bit of that in mine. And you pick up the job for the next person. So it's a really short demo. I finished it in about an hour. It's available on Steam for everyone to get for free at the moment. The game comes out itself towards the end of March, so towards the end of this month. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where we go off the back of the first gym that you renovate, how they can switch it up and how they can keep it interesting. Because if it's the same thing over and over again, I think it might be easy to lose interest. But I didn't lose interest once during the demo. I thoroughly enjoyed my time on it. And if you like a renovation style game or a power wash simulator, things like that, I think this will be a really good one for you. So I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Right, that was my mini sports special where only half of the episode covered sports. I want to thank you again for stopping by for a DLC, and I hope you have a wonderful week. See you later. Bye.